Good afternoon, YouTube, and happy Valentine's Day. Today, I'm going to be going over my top three most beloved firearms from my collection. This is not based on capabilities. This is not based on real-world usage. This is just based on the ones that I like, the ones I shoot the most often, and the ones I have the best connection with, right? Which most of these are going to be firearms I've owned for quite a while, because the longer you have something, the more dear it kind of grows to you. So this is just my top three favorite guns that I own. Starting with number 3, my least favorite of the top 3. All right, so we're starting out with the AR-10. This is a DPMS pattern, AR-10, made by Palmetto State Armory. I got this a few years ago. It is a Gen 3, PSA 10, I think is what they called them. Terrific, right? Uses a normal AR-15 buffer tube, stock, grip, safety, trigger group, and then enlarged mag well for the 308 mags. It's DPMS pattern, so anything that'll work with a DPMS pattern AR-10, which I believe Arrow is built on the same thing, will work with this. I use these P-mags most of the time. The 25ers look cool. I have the standard PSA, it's not really a quad rail, just I guess a handguard, free-floated handguard. Terrific. Right? We have a top rail, M-lock along the sides. Out front here, I have a Harris bipod. It's adjustable, got these little springs on there. Very handy, quick deployable. It was pretty spendy when I bought it, but it's all American, you know, just can't go wrong there. I have a fairly quick detach, Yankee Hill Resonator R2 suppressor. Very cool, can't recommend enough. And I have that made it up to a Yankee Hill, muzzle device. This happens to be a muzzle brake. So loud, super loud, but almost recoilless, really. You can see it's not ridiculously long. I've got the 18-inch barrel. The 16 seemed a little small, and the 20 seemed a little long. And when I was building it up, I was like kind of edgy, you know, as people are when they're younger. And I thought, well, the 18, no one's doing it, you know, so. We've got the 18 there, painted with muzzle device. With suppressor, shoots really well. There's an adjustable gas block, but I've never adjusted it. I got it from the factory. It shot fine enough with the suppressor. Without the suppressor, I don't get any gas in my eyes. On top, I've got a Leupold. I think it's a Mark Freedom. Replaced the Mark III. So decent Leupold optic. I got that back when I worked at Sportsman's Warehouse. Very cool company. So that was pre-Air Force. I built this up, right? You've got the Butler Creek flip-up sights. It is the fire dot, and it does have the mil dots, which is very cool. Standard 3x9, 30-millimeter tube. Very cool. And the Magpul fat stock. I've had that on there for quite a while. Put earplugs or something in there. Camo paint. I think this was the first firearm I actually painted. Pretty cool. That's some Court Stew channel lore right there. So this mag has been painted since like 2019, 2020. So overall, very cool. You can see this grip is not painted, as that was only put on there probably last February, maybe a year and a half ago. It's a BCM, kind of more upright grip. It's got an enhanced Palmetto State trigger. Honestly, I'm pretty happy with it. I forget what they call it. I think it was before the Saber line came out, but it is their polished or target trigger, whatever they had, 4 or 5 years ago. But overall, terrific rifle. It's heavy, and 308's expensive, and it's loud. You can't really shoot it indoors, and also you don't find a lot of places to shoot it. That's why it's number 3. Even though it is quite beloved, it's just I don't get to shoot it as often as I wish I did. But I do like it more than my M14 or M1A. Even though I also like the M1A, I prefer this. So next up, we have second place. And second place, this was difficult to put in second. It really is fighting for first, right? This is my Turkish-made AP5, full-size MP5 clone. Not really a clone, but a contract gun. Made under license from HK in Turkey. This gun I bought, I think 2 days after my 21st birthday. It's legally a handgun. I was at the gun store, Northern Security, up in Alaska, and I was in there walking around. They had one on display, and I was like, well, I might as well buy a handgun. I'm 21 now, right? So I bought this. Terrific probably the most, I mean, it's the best 9mm I've ever owned. I can say that. I can say that this is the reason that I got a suppressor. This suppressor was bought for this gun. Yeah, it fits on a lot of other guns, but it was bought for this. I want to get the tri-lug adapter at some point. These are terrific little firearms, right? Turkish made, pretty much exact copies, honestly. I've done a little bit of tinkering to it. I put the wide forend on there because I don't really like the Turkish, the thin, like the A1 handguard. I've got some German mags. They seem to feed the most reliably. Super easy manual of arms. I don't need to even talk about that. Everybody knows, right? It's an MP5, effectively. I've got a G3 lower handguard. I've talked about this. I've made videos about this. This, I went in with some white paint. It doesn't look super good. It looks a lot better on the K model. I can show you on the top there, too. You can see it. It turned out all right. But definitely, I got this Magpul collapsible stock. This is the gun that when I go shooting with people, I bring this out and nobody doesn't have a good time, right? Especially with the suppressor. You shoot like subs with this, right? Yeah, it's just insanely quiet. If there ever was something that was Hollywood quiet, it was this or the 1022. Extremely quiet, extremely controllable. I had this and then my dad's Henry Homesteader, and I shot them side by side quite a bit as they're both threaded, 1/2 by 28. It has a 16-inch flat barrel, and this has like an 8.9-inch barrel. This is honestly a lot lighter shooting, but I think I shot a little better with the Homesteader. It's got terrific sights. If you ever shot the MP5, you know they're terrific sights. This is an iconic gun, right? If you've ever played Call of Duty or seen any movies, it's just terrific. You take it to the range, everyone wants to shoot it, and you get to be the center of attention for a second. They're kind of expensive, but this is like one of the most eye-catching guns I have, and it's just so fun to shoot. And 9mm isn't too bad. You know, it's not great right now by any means, but like overall, it's a lot cheaper than like the 308. I just can't really take that out, right? That sits on the shelf. You can shoot this at indoor ranges. You can shoot this, heck, if you have enough land, all you need is like 2 acres and a berm. Maybe less, really. Terrific self-defense gun. This does sit loaded next to my bedside, but so does a short AR with a flashlight, so that's probably what I'm grabbing. But this is something you can monkey with. I have a tri-rail I keep on there sometimes. You've seen the video. Threads and tri-lug. Terrific gun, terrific thing to monkey with, and honestly, vying for first. If I didn't have such a connection with first place, this might be my favorite gun to shoot, and it definitely leaves the gun room more than any other gun. So take that as what you will, you know. Great firearm. So our final and my most favorite gun is this M16. But before you guys go in the comments and say, you just built this, you just put this M16 together a freaking week ago, which is true. The only reason it's winning is because of the lower, right? And legally, this is considered the firearm, right? So if we're talking about favorite firearms in the world, the M16 is awesome. Don't get me wrong. I really like this 20-inch barrel. I really like this Vietnam era triangle stock. I like this fixed stock. I don't know if this was 159 or 59. Still got the weapon number on it. But really, it's this optic, which I bought. This was the first EOTech I ever bought. In fact, the first, you know, any sort of close combat. I was going to say red dot, but I mean, it's a holographic sight. This optic I bought when I worked at Sportsman's Warehouse. Great optic, terrific. It's an EOTech 512, so you can see the reticle. We're also going to take, well, really just the upper receiver and lower receiver. Put that there so you guys can look at it. But yeah, this is the first lower I ever bought. And it happens to be the first trigger I ever really messed with. I've got a binary trigger in there. Terrific. Barrel of fun. I've shot thousands of rounds through this lower. This is usually the lower I use for testing new uppers, right? This is an actual Armalite remanufacture, right? Eagle Arms kind of revived Armalite. It was a weird deal. They went out of business in the early 80s, late 70s, came back in the late 90s, early 2000s. So this is an Armalite AR-15. Technically, it's an M22 Eagle, They did not have the trademark. They could not call it the AR-15, but it is an actual Armalite rifle lower, right? Which is important to me. I think that's cool to have the Armalite rifle. I have the serial number taped off. I kind of do that. I don't know if you guys notice. Original freaking bolt release, original mag release. We've gone in there. I have this PSA grip that came on the AR-10. I didn't really like the A2 pistol grip. I actually had a Hogue on there for a while. But overall, just this receiver has so many thousands. I mean, I probably have 6,000 or 7,000 rounds through this receiver. And in fact, this barrel, right? This is in 223 Wild or Wildy. I don't know how you pronounce it. WYLDE. This barrel has a lot of rounds through it. Just normal 16-inch barrel. Used to have a front sight block. Now it doesn't. Used to have a Delta ring. I'm sure I'll put this back on something, as it is a pretty solid barrel. It came with it. But really, just by virtue of being the gun that I test all my new uppers with, as you can see, right? This bolt, I think I went 3,000 rounds at one point without even taking this bolt carrier apart to clean it. Which I don't know if that says that I'm retarded or that the AR-15 is terrific. But I've had, my entire time shooting it, 2 malfunctions due to steel-cased ammo at sub-negative 20-degree weather. So steel expands, don't know if I can really blame the gun. And a handful of malfunctions when I first put the binary in. I had a really lightweight buffer spring and a really heavy spring, and I was just outrunning it, and it would just get double and triple feeds. But once I straightened that out, I don't know if I can really blame the gun for me just having the wrong weight stuff, right? It cycles good now. But overall, this has just been a terrific gun the entire time I've owned it. And in fact, I'm going to turn it into the Grenadier barrel real quick. But yeah, it's not really super clone correct as an M16. I guess you could pretend it's an A4 because it does have the F-marked front sight post and the pick rail. But then I have an A2 freaking Grenadier barrel shroud, which looks badass. These are getting super hard to find, and I like the shorter 10-inch stock compared to the 11-inch on the A2. The EOTech, I think, looks kind of badass. I could pretend this is like a late 90s retro rifle, right? The 512's been around since like freaking 1998 or something. Don't quote me there. But it also has M4 feed ramps on both the barrel extension and the upper receiver portion. So as an M16, it's not necessarily my favorite. It's definitely up there. Terrific shooting firearm, right? Zero recoil, super fun, super retro, as the kids would say. But the receiver is what makes this my favorite. And hopefully I'll have many, many thousands more rounds through this. All right, guys. Thanks for watching. We have a lot more content on the way. Let me know in the comments which one is your favorite. And if none of them are your favorite, right? If they all suck, if you hate all these, let me know. Right? I'm going to be doing a video on why I hate the M110A1 and why direct impingement is very cool, in my opinion, better than a piston gun. I will be doing some videos on shooting the M16 and many more coming up. Also some gear reviews. We're going to be talking about rucking soon, and just in general, more tactical content on the way.